So here we are, finally under sail on Mississippi Lake, and we were kind of busy doing the rigging. I didn't get taking video of actually doing the rigging, but maybe we can try that for another time. And one thing I wanted to point out is how the rigging is done for the jib. One time one of my sailing mentors and I were out on Wellington Bay near Picton, and we were both in our own Nordica16s, and the other guy, we'll call him Brian, he was pointing to windward just a bit higher than I was, and he figured it was because he had his jib sheet running inside of the two shrouds. But as you can see by the lineup of this fair lead, it looks like the jib sheet should come outside. So I tried mine inside at the time, didn't find it made a whole lot of difference, and wondered if it was because of the weight and how it was distributed in this boat, because I had a lot more camping gear on board. So anyway, not sure just why he was able to point a little higher, but he no longer has his Nordica, so we can't repeat that. As you can see, the winds are not real strong here this afternoon. Guess there won't be any worry of a capsize. On the back is the little motor mount that goes up and down. At various times I've used an old air-cooled 5-horse motor, a 4-horse 2-stroke Johnson little twin. It's ideal for this boat, and I carry on board a Minn Kota trolling motor that we could hook up for an emergency, and of course I have the battery on board as well. The wind has picked up a little bit as we've gotten out more to the center of this end of the lake. You can probably hear the waves slapping on the side. The GPS says we're doing 3.8, 3.9 miles per hour at the moment. A couple of years after getting this boat, which would be back in the mid to later 90s, my brother and I sailed it from Wapoose on Prince Edward County, which is down in Lake Ontario from the Ontario side, and we sailed it out to the main Duck Islands, which is pretty much in the middle of Lake Ontario, just on the north side of the border between the two countries, and we camped out there for a couple of nights before heading back to Wapoose. Heading back, we were going into waves 6 to 8 feet that were left over from a storm the day before, and this little boat was just like a little cork going through the water, so we were quite happy to be bouncing above the waves. You may notice I've got a small solar panel here on deck, and that's for keeping the charge up on the deep cycle battery. Okay, we're running downwind here right now. GPS says 3.2 miles per hour. I have the jib out on, looks like it's a boom, but it's not, it's just a boat hook. Does the trick. Let's just keep the mainsail out on the other side. And there's the burgee for the Nordica 16s. These sails are all original. going back to 1979, so they've stood up very well. At this point in time, we're hitting downwind with the sails both on the same side, but you can see these little rocky island out in the middle here. We're going to have to do a tack shortly to avoid that. And then we'll be headed into the what's called the fourth lake here, leaving the fifth lake. Okay, so we did a jibe there, and we're over on a starboard tack and clearing the little rocky island with the marker buoys out. The rocks come out quite a ways. Now, I want to point out to you that up on shore there, you can just barely make out a burgundy building with some white trim, which is not in use at the moment, except for the motel-like unit on the left side of it. But that was called Lake Park Lodge, and way back in the day, Al Capone was a visitor to Lake Park Lodge. There's a little bay with an entrance on the other side of the rock pile there. There's also a launch ramp there, but the little bay is very shallow. This lake, as I said in the previous video, is not deep at all. The two deepest points on the lake are at the far end at lake number 1 and at the middle of lake number 3. They are only 33-34 feet deep. The rest of the lake is quite shallow, with depths averaging around 6 feet. Now the Nordica16 is perfect for that, as I said before, because it has a full-length shallow draft keel, only draws about 18 inches of water, so it slips through the weeds and over the shallows. Nice breeze catching us now. We're motoring right along here, not motoring, sailing right along at about 5.5 miles per hour, according to the GPS, jumping up to 5.7 once in a while, moving at a pretty good clip. We are in Lake 4 of the Mississippi Lake. So now we're headed for home. We're tacking upwind at about 5 miles per hour, headed in a northeasterly direction. Probably can't see it in the camera lens, but there's a big tower up there, and that's kind of our eventual destination. On this tack, we might get far enough that we can clear that little Dooley Island there on the left. So we're doing all right. Well, we're slowly making headway, getting back to the mooring. Get back before the winds totally die in the evening, and get home in time to have some supper. Okay, here we are coming into towards our dinghy here, and on our mooring. We've had a good sail, and we'll get the boat put to bed and go up to the house and have supper.